We're starting now. They can hear us now, so don't
say anything.
He's moved already.
I'm putting the light up.
All right. Welcome to 4020 Live. I'm going to start with, I would say a statement, but it's not really a statement.
You know you're early,
I know.
so nobody will hear this statement.
Doesn't matter. Because people are going to ask us, why don't you get someone on this programme? Well, A, we've got guests lined up coming up. One of which completely fits the bill of every guest we have on the programme. But anyway, I just wanted to read this because sometimes we get press releases from the Rugby Football League about things we're supposed to promote.
We did last week.
We did
just
week
before
for
yeah.
eating a biscuit.
The
Professionalism.
whatever hit the fan.
Yeah. And generally they're things that you just delete or something. And I didn't delete this one, and I must have known because it's about the Ashes are coming up.
Which ones?
The
Cricket or the Rugby League ones?
The fake ones, yeah. And
it's a bit hard.
we did make a rod for our own back stealing their name, didn't we? Because then everyone goes, well, you don't want to do real Ashes. You know, blah,
What?
blah, blah.
Or we had it first and then allowed somebody else to steal.
No, the cricket.
No,
was
I know,
first,
but
yeah.
what
Well,
we
on
do
this-
is
on
we
this
invent
occasion,
World
yeah.
It's a
Cups.
good idea, yeah, but it's a good idea, isn't it? Why not? Yeah.
We'll come up with a Lions, and then we'll get somebody else.
So the Ashes are coming.
Video referee.
No, television match official. Come on now. The Ashes are coming, and they're coming this November. And part of the collaborations, we've got a beer sponsor, and we're also sponsored or in partnership with Movember, the men's mental health charity. And the RSL,
Australian mental health.
was it Australia?
It started in Australia.
Everything starts in Australia. I was trying to start this bit
Not
by me
COVID.
making a serious thing.
Sorry, Rich.
And then,
Sorry.
cause, and then, well, I say serious. You know what these programs are like. The collaboration will help raise vital funds and shine a spotlight on men's health during the charity's most important time of the year. It also builds on Rugby League's ongoing commitment to championing mental fitness, well-being, and open conversations about men's health. Rugby League's ongoing commitment to championing mental fitness. And I want to say this now, at the start of the programme, before anyone comes on and says this, that and the other. We all are not perfect. None of us. Some of us are less perfect than most people. Probably people around this table. But when you use your platform on social media to tag someone in a tweet, you know that if you are punching down at those people, that you're opening it up for your followers and your, I'm trying to think of disciples, is that a fair word? I don't know.
Fans.
People who will blindly follow what you say because you've won a trophy as the owner of a club, into abusing the person you're punching down onto. So when we talk about mental health and we talk about our sport's commitment to mental health, but then figures within the sport use their platforms to open the goals to people to denigrate others who aren't as important because we're looking down on them and calling them maggots or whatever, then let's just think about what we're doing. Let's just think about what we're doing. And you know, we'll keep getting on the guests that we want to speak to. I think there's, on this programme, we have a long history of having people on who we enjoy speaking to.
Who've got something to say?
Yeah, who sometimes are not, on other podcasts, and we've met along the way, and we think, oh, we'll get them on, and they'll be able to tell their stories, and it'll be interesting. And I think we'll keep doing that, because I'd rather do that than have the same guests that everyone else has on. And, as I say, we like to have conversations. And you can't really have a conversation where we all know what would happen. So what's the point? What's the point?
I would say, and obviously as only as a guest, but as a long time listener, first time caller, no, long time guest from the Radio Yorkshire days, which is why I like going on Radio Yorkshire, and why I like going, is the debate, is the whether it be with Rich, with Phil, previously with Mark and Scully, and yeah.
I think I think personally the best interview Nigel has ever done, and we could never really persuade him to do it enough, was when he came into Radio Yorkshire. He was in there for 2 hours.
I recently re-listened to that, actually.
And I'm not saying it was world-class broadcasting, but 2 hours gives you a chance to develop topics. It's not soundbite stuff. And he comes out of that, I think, quite well.
He does.
In fact,
yeah.
very well.
Yeah.
I think he doesn't shy away from a question.
He's very polished.
And he answers it honestly. I think he's asked a range of questions from the people that were in the studio, because they all had different perspectives they were coming from. But by the same token, he wasn't allowed to just say something and get away with it, because you've got 2 hours. You can go, well, let me just pull you up there on that. What do you really mean by it? And that's the kind of broadcasting that it's like long form journalism, isn't it? That's what we're about. It's not sound bites.
I'd just add to that, just to clear one thing up. I think I tweeted this the other day, but since I broke the story of the coup and Nigel coming back in late February and everything that's happened since, I think, and I have Nigel's contact details, and I'm sure he has mine. Asked for an interview or comment at least six times, including through the RFL channels as well. Not had any comment. And I have interviewed Nigel many times before. In fact, I remember in between a lockdown, sitting in his back garden, doing an interview, which was in a national newspaper about when he was heading up the IRL. I have no agenda, dislike of Nigel. He's always been, decent person to deal with, and it'd be great to do an interview with him. So, he has my. If he doesn't want to comment, that's completely his right. He doesn't have to comment or do any interviews that he doesn't want to.
We don't like bullies anyway. Paul says, guess this is going to be a quiet one. Nothing happened all over the weekend. I don't think anything did happen at the weekend, did it? I mean, I was ill, so that wasn't...
My phone exploded.
Oh, well, yeah.
2 Salford players have left this afternoon.
Yes.
I mean, Phil did ask who is our Salford fan. I thought we were talking about biscuits this week and ignoring the rugby. You just talk, so I'm going to bring some biscuits up.
I have got a Salford question as well from Richard, which we can
We've got ginger crunch creams from Fox's, if anybody wishes to know.
Just had one, though, nice.
I've
never had one before.
Phil sent us a hamper earlier this year, and I've just started eating these raspberry shortbread, and they are gorgeous.
Can't eat shortbread, can you?
No, so I'm going to try and sneak those home with me, because...
you won't be sneaking them home.
I have to say, the guard dog at the door will stop you doing that.
That's my dinner.
They're very good. They're very good. But it's just amazing how things that aren't mentioned in public become public. And it's bizarre how that happens, and I don't know how that works. But so I'll send my CV in to become the official spokesperson of the RFL, but I think that role's been filled now, so never mind. Maybe I could get the job at Warrington doing their PR.
Well, I need to apologise to Warrington.
What have we done now?
Well, not Warrington specifically. Well, I mentioned that the coaching staff dress as the men in black.
Yes,
and they don't.
Yes, apologise, Phil.
Well, I'm not apologising. Well, no, I am. And they don't have the merchandise. There is a very shadowy Warrington Wolves logo on their black kit.
Probably so 50 quid.
It is.
Can I just ask, Phil, have you actually ever seen the films?
No.
No. Because technically the men in black is actually suits. So it's a white shirt, black tie.
They look very much...
No, but they do dress in black.
They're cool. They are cool. And we did
very
say,
Will Smith-esque and Tommy Lee Jones,
It's not 100% correct to say they don't represent the merchandise of the club, because there is an outline shadow of a badge, which I think is blue on black, so you can't really see it. Not that changes anything.
Not that changes...
I want to be accurate.
The fact that their season is now effectively over.
Well, it was over months ago, but people have only realised now.
Officially, yeah.
I don't know if we've all seen that meme where David Mitchell is dressed as a Nazi and it says, "Are we the baddies?" Yes. And are we the sardonic, destructive media, Phil? Because I'm just trying to check, just so I know where we are.
I sincerely hope so. Yeah. I would aspire to
I had to look it up.
Particularly, well, I've circled a few things in the latest missive.
Can I just say I think I'm more of a clickbait paywall.
I wonder what you were going to say.
Clickbait, separate words. I'll just point out clickbait is one word, and paywall is one word.
I've asked AI because I'm thick. Sardonic describes something characterised by bitter or scornful derision. It's a way of speaking or writing that is sarcastic, mocking, and often cynical. I can't believe that this programme could ever be described in those terms.
We were set up to do that.
I could say that for you, but I don't think Phil. Yeah, I don't think Phil's that cynical. Phil's quite positive.
Am I dragging Phil down? Is it my
I
fault?
didn't want to say that. But
It's as part of the latest column, not
interesting.
questions, column.
No, look, I think it's more of a missive
Manifesto.
from Dear Leader.
Not another
Yeah.
manifesto.
Rugby League does have pockets of sardonic, divisive and destructive media. That's the world we live in. People seeking controversy and notoriety for their own sake. When did we move to North Korea?
Well, I think that's quite obvious.
Are we,
You're the chairman of the Pyong. No,
That's
no,
me.
he's the CEO. You're the chairman.
No, it's all his. It's all his. The thing
I'll be the
is,
kit man.
if you passionately care about something and you want it to be the best it can be, and you believe that, rightly or wrongly, you can prove it or otherwise, you don't think it's going in a direction that it is the best it can be, why does that make you an opponent? Surely healthy debate, this isn't politics, thankfully. It's not a million miles away. But there wouldn't have been peace of sorts in Northern Ireland if people from very opposing factions hadn't found a reason to get round the table for the benefit of the greater good. So in no way am I comparing Rugby League to peace in Ireland, but the principle of you have to combine various opposing sides to an argument to get to where you want to be is as valid in Rugby League, and you can't just marginalise people that don't agree with you.
Well, we don't. Yeah, I agree, Phil. I don't think we want to. We won't go down the political angle too long. But I was reading something in the Guardian from 2017 today, and I think it is quite similar. The tactics of gaslighting, falsehoods, attacking your critics, shutting down the media, attacking personal insults.
Only dealing with the media that you want to
Yes,
deal with.
it's the
because
Donald
it
Trump
supports-
playbook, and it works. Oh, you could argue it's the Boris Johnson playbook,
Well,
and it did work for many years. So
I
it's
don't
effective.
know if this is a controversial statement, but I think the people who are trying to bring in whatever the RFL is going to look like are losing the PR battle. I think that Carl Fitzpatrick, again, I don't know what provenance he has to be the spokesperson, but he went on Sky. It was really poor.
But I will give him credit for having the cojones to do the interview when
But
Tony
I,
Sutton,
Live.
Nigel Wood.
but I think if you're going to
no one
do,
else
if you're
at RFL
going to
would.
do the interview, you need to come across when you leave the interview with people going, I understand more about what they're saying.
Yes.
It makes a logical argument. I felt that he didn't move it forward one bit.
Yeah, that's a fair assumption.
I
Yeah,
don't
fair
think
statement.
Derek Beaumont is the PR manager of this. He may think he is, but I don't see anywhere in any correspondence saying the person who is in charge of media and public relations for the chairman of the Rugby League is Derek Beaumont. I'm not sure he's winning the PR battle. I think Nigel being reluctant to do anything other than putting something in writing in a paper at the moment that is very supportive of what he's doing takes us too much further. I do think that the message is mixed.
I would.
That where it's coming from is not a common. You were saying that somebody had contacted you and said even the parameters of knowing how the 13th and 14th team are going to be decided has changed from the statement that was put out to what various people are trying to now explain it as. Well, again, you're losing the message if within a week you're changing the message.
I would just add, for a level of accuracy, he has done 2 very friendly podcasts. He's done the bench, and we obviously had the immortal.
But before we went to 14 teams.
Yes, but we did have the immortal 4,000 fans, £4 million, and he also did the Eddie and Steve-O podcast, which I listened to most of it, and I think there was a wonderful. Well, being sarcastic, I should not be sardonic.
Yeah.
There was I'd say quite a harsh comment about Catalans that they need to be more than just a stag do. Now, I think that's incredibly disrespectful to what.
But don't forget to
that
buy your
club-
tickets to go see Oldham versus Castleford in Benidorm.
Why not? Yeah, it's good on Oldham, good on Cass. But I think there has been a level of
I mean, the thing about just taking it right back to the justification for everything that's happened so far is we had to get rid of loop fixtures.
which we've had since 1999.
Well, so there's 2 things. One is you could have got rid of them any time you wanted. They haven't suddenly become an issue.
Exactly.
They are an issue, but no more than they've always been an issue. But it also depends on what those loop fixtures are. Because if a Luke fixture is Hull and Hull KR for a second time at Hull and you get 20,000 people in, you're not going to replace that. And I'm not making a case for Luke fixtures, I can't stand them. But if it's Wigan against St Helens at the Brick Stadium, it's 25,000 people.
Wasn't Wakefield
if it's
Leeds?
Wakefield Leeds for it will sell out. If it's Salford coming twice or Catalan coming twice, that's when Luke fixtures don't work economically, apparently. So don't say it's all about Luke fixtures, because it isn't.
Well, I think that's an obvious red herring, isn't it?
I
don't think anyone.
The only justification.
No,
even Carl Fitzpatrick, it was all about we had to do something because he's getting rid of Luke fixtures. No, you're not even talking about the crucial element of all this, which is how many rounds do you want?
I think. Well, that's a key element, but I think.
And what are you building into the season when you've got some spare capacity that makes you more saleable to broadcasters? This whole idea about
3v3.
But this whole idea about what Magic might be, it is going to be nines. No, it isn't going to be nines. It is going to be the quarter final of the Challenge Cup, which it can't be. It isn't going to be that. It's like, if you haven't thought it through to give us all the information,
haven't you heard?
Don't give us any information.
It's going to be 3v3 in an indoor, or 2v2, or.
How are they going to do that at Magic at Newcastle Stadium?
Well, obviously have to have it in an indoor area.
Because Rodri's already told us we've got Magic next year.
But that's what it's going to be. It's 3v3, like
basketball,
3-on-2. Well, just the normal rugby drill. That apparently will be.
I mean, things like, for example, and we've started, so we might as well. The decision to go to 14, in my view, galvanises the whole pyramid for rugby league. Why are so many Championship and League One coaches and players saying, please can you tell us, they're part of the pyramid, they're the bottom of the pyramid, please can you tell us what we are supposed to do?
They should speak to their owners, who are mainly on social media goading people into what the future is for the Championship and League One, because even though we know there's 14 teams in Super League next year, we still don't know what's happening below Super League. So we're going to have one big division. What's the point of the playoffs at the end of the year?
If we can't provide strong central revenue any longer for the lower tier, the least we can do is create opportunity for them to grow by giving them the best fixture format possible, to give them a compelling competition. Brackets, but we are taking away the 1895 Cup from Wembley, which actually is the most important, significant thing for those teams in the lower tier to try and aspire to. It's like there are too many contradictions. Everybody loves a renaissance.
I think
you can't have a renaissance. A renaissance is something you look back on centuries after it's happened.
I don't think the Catholic Church probably like that. I think the other point, just to jump back about 3 minutes, Phil, when you were talking about Luke fixtures, the other point was that Sky had not been broached at all. That's been confirmed now.
The other thing about the other thing about Magic Weekend, forget Luke. I mean, Sky, if it's Wigan Warrington or Luke fixtures and we're going, it's the 5th time they've played, it's a game that Sky will put on.
The general public are interested.
But what they really like is Magic Weekend, because it's all of the games in one place on 2 days. It's the cheapest one to produce. They are massive fans of Magic Weekend. But we're not having Magic Weekend. Or we might have it, but we might have it in a sports hall. We might not have it.
According to reports, and my understanding, they were not contacted. So that when they put in the amount of money that they do to not actually have a discussion is incredibly short-sighted and disrespectful.
So Sky say for the last year of this current broadcasting contract, we're still only doing 6 games. You can have the 7th. Clearly, it'll be the worst game of the round because we want the other 6. That's what
London v York,
whatever. Okay. But so you can have that RFL. You can put it on your streaming services. Who's going to pay for it? Who's going to pay for the production?
Well, there's apparently 18 billion people who pay for Sky.
Nonsense.
And
there has to be enhanced scrutiny of the financial aspects of grading to find clubs with the sustainability to cope within Super League, even if they don't receive a full distribution. Well, so if you haven't got an owner that's going to pay everything you would have got central distribution-wise, you're not coming in. Why don't you give them the distribution? Because you want
the money.
But you want a competitive league. You can't have it on. We don't want Luke fixtures because we want a more competitive league that is representative of the fixtures of teams playing each other, but we don't want at least two of the teams to have access to the same distribution as the others. It's like there are so many contradictions here.
I've got so many questions, and we move on to something else in this thing. What's competitive? What's competitive, Phil? Because Scottish football, I mean, Paddy Power joked about this on Saturday when Rangers drew at Motherwell. They said, "Congratulations, Celtic, you've won the league," and there's a grain of truth in that. But there hasn't been a different champion in Scottish football in 40 years or something.
In the 80s, Fergie's, Aberdeen,
competitive it is, to go back to a phrase that was once used before in marketing of this fine sport, where there is uncertainty of outcome and every minute matters. And what we've seen as an example, and we're not comparing like we're like, when Penrith started this season in the NRL and had won, what was it, 2 games out of 7?
I think less than that.
And everybody said there's no
Written
way
off.
even this great team could, like, they're on the verge of the top 4. Yeah. And they've done that, yes, because they've got some great players, and I get. But what it is when you look at a fixture list in any given week, there is a chance. Gold Coast won in New Zealand Warriors, didn't they, this weekend? You shouldn't be able to.
2 or 3 years ago,
you should not be.
Canberra and Canterbury were absolutely rubbish.
So and I'm not saying that we are they, but you ask me what's competitive. It's seeing a set of fixtures and not knowing 100% what that result is going to be. So there's interest.
I mean, I think the other thing is if you're going to expand, you do it with a strategy, and you also do it with a lead type of several years, like with the Dolphins.
Not
with PNG. So you actually allow them the chance to be successful and
again,
actually have
one of the other words that is used a lot by Nigel in his piece and other people who are spokespeople for what's happening at the moment is the word growth, and that's one of the reasons why we have to get rid of loop fixtures and we have to make the sport leaner, fitter and more attractive so we can have growth. Is not bringing in 2 teams that already exist. So it isn't
but we might bring in Bristol into League One with no money.
Do you not think when Bradford play Leeds in 2026 at Odsall there'll be 20,000 people?
No.
Okay. Well, that'd be disappointing.
There were 10,000 for a cup tie the other year when they hadn't played
Balls
each other
back.
for why? No. It'll take time to build up that rivalry, and people will have to know that Bradford are going to be competitive as well.
Well, Bradford are averaging. I had a look. They're averaging about 3,200 odd this year at home.
So it's a huge leap of faith to go 6 times that for one game.
And have they done the work in terms of marketing in the community that Bradford City have done? And I know football. I know football's a bigger sport.
Yeah.
I know football's a much bigger sport and has a wider footprint and whatever. But Bradford City have had no success. When was the last in the Premier League for a season 20 odd years ago? But they get big crowds in whatever division they're in now, the 3rd or 4th division, because they've put hard work in, even when the team isn't good, into getting people with bums on seats.
I think also probably not going into administration, 4 times, 3 times, and probably not playing in a stadium that's on site.
Someone did ask you get IMG points knocked off for the pitch size. But I assume that's probably not.
I have to say though, seriously, you give the club credit because they are making changes to Odsall, enough changes like Castleford did to get IMG points for the big screen and the great. I mean, the whole stadium experience still might be terrible and horrible, but they are not exploiting. They are smartly doing what's needed, and that's a flaw in the grading.
I'm going to assume, right? This is me saying this. If Bradford are in the top 12 of the IMG rankings, no one's got a problem with it because we know this is the system, this is what you have to do, here's where you can get points. And if Bradford are in the top 12, they're in the top 12. If they are club 13 or 14, everyone's going to kick off because everyone's going to think, what a stitch-up this is, whether it is or not. Because you can't have 2 systems to have clubs in the same division where one is, here's this clearly defined structure, which you may or may not agree with, but it exists. And here's these 2 other clubs that have been picked by a panel of some bloke who used to be a politician and now...
No, he's a lifelong Leeds Rhinos fan.
But now they're talking about 13 and 14 will be determined by the rankings. It's whether they're financially sustainable and then who else wants to apply.
I don't understand. So on Monday, it was announced, a week ago, 7 days ago, it was announced that...
At about this time?
Yeah. that the first 12 clubs would be under the IMG grade, and the next two will be defined by an independent. Sorry, with the air quotes, independent panel, and then it is revealed on a YouTube show or on a club channel or by a journalist, and then confirmed in the column that you're in before Nigel will. But no, actually, we're going to use IMG for 30. So when the IMG gradings will come out after the Super League Grand Final. So when will the panel make their decision? Presumably, after that. So
how does that also make the teams coming up competitive? Because they're not going to find out whether
they're going to get the real dregs
until all the recruitment's been done.
That's a separate issue. But why say that on Monday and then change it a week later? So either your communication is terrible, or you've changed the goalposts already. It's one or the other. It can't be both. Well, it could be both.
You're probably sardonic to ask that question. But I do
perfectly
think...
cromulent question, I would say.
Going back to the word growth, which is thrown around a lot. Growth is opening new markets. So growth, for example, would be Toulouse, which is the third biggest city in France.
Well, I may have watched a video today where it was strictly pointed out we don't want two French clubs in Super League, so that's you read between the lines. But it won't be
growth, and this is sort of taking it on to something that was debated on social media yesterday afternoon. Growth is also looking at somewhere like Wales, where we've only tried for close on 130 years to do it properly and never quite managed. But you have to look at the context of your greatest rival in Wales has always been Rugby Union. Now, that might have been in concert with Twickenham, because I think they realised that if in the early days of the Northern Union Wales had joined, that would probably have been the end of International Rugby Union. And because it was only friendly fixtures amongst public schools in the south of England, that may well have been the death knell of Rugby Union. So there was some arrangements made hastily that took no account of the fact that it's not a professional sport in those days, that made sure that Wales didn't change en masse. We've tinkered with Wales over the years with teams who we put in there, probably underfunded. Welsh Rugby Union has never been at a lower ebb, both at club level, financially and internationally, particularly their men.
Yeah,
there are a lot of
I think
players.
You could argue, while they are obviously struggling at if you look at the success and the amount of money that they generate from their Six Nations and their home fixtures,
it's dropping like a stone.
I disagree, Phil.
And they're talking now about cutting back on the regions that
they are in the club level
because they haven't got the money.
I think the Lions and the
how many Welsh
fixtures,
players were playing for the Lions?
I think it was a handful.
More Canadians.
Well, there was more Australians.
So,
but that's
so now is a really good time if you've got a growth philosophy.
We don't have a growth philosophy.
We
don't have the money.
It's in the paper. It says we are.
Phil, we don't have the money to back.
We're growing. We're growing.
Then you exploit new markets, and the market that we saw, and it's a very small indication. Wales women played Scotland women yesterday afternoon at Neath, and irrespective of the standard of the game, which actually was really exciting, wasn't settled in 2 minutes from time. Irrespective of the amount of people that were in the stadium, no idea how many there were, but there were certainly pockets of Scotland and Welsh fans that they kept focusing on, and the atmosphere was really good. There clearly were parts of the stadium, I don't know what it holds, that were empty. It doesn't matter. A national broadcaster took that game.
Do you know what the ratings were?
I'm not sure it matters. And the national broadcaster, again, is taking this week's game.
And it's a national broadcaster with a public service commitment, so it's the kind of thing that
it's a free-to-air broadcaster. It's everything we want our sport to be. Why are we not looking at, for example, encouraging a team that represents Wales in the same way that we've got a team that represents the Catalonian region?
I'll tell you why, Phil.
Well, I know
money.
It's a rhetorical question.
Well, and a lack of expertise.
Money is one thing, but what you need is a broadcaster. And you need a commercial partner, and the commercial partner will come on board when the broadcaster is a free-to-air national broadcaster. The two go together. We got some way down, a very small step down that road this weekend.
Let me lob a grenade into this one then, because I know the men's Super League is the most important thing, but we're talking about Wales for a second, and we've got a team in Cardiff who were all right. I think they're at the top end of the women's championship. They haven't forfeited any games.
The top of the women's championship.
So that's a positive, because we saw Bradford last week didn't go to London, and we don't know why because they never released a statement. So all we can assume is they couldn't be asked, like Warrington the other week. Now, if you kick Warrington out of the Women's Super League because they're a waste of time and put Cardiff in there, maybe we can go to S4C and say, do you want to show Cardiff's games? You know, they're representing Wales in this competition. It's a good standard.
It's elite level.
They're going to play at proper grounds and everything.
Not to segue, but I think the way to grow the women's game would have been keeping the top division smaller, making the
unfortunately,
I know that horse is bolted, but it
a-
would make those games more entertaining.
Yes.
Build that way, and then things like the women's nines that you're at, which received apart from yourself no coverage, actually promoting those events and then building it organically.
Then the women's nines is a great example because we're going to have this nines thing instead of Magic, but the women's nines, there was only 2 teams who had their pretty much full squads out there in Wigan and Huddersfield, and the rest were not.
Well,
so when I go to Derek and say, so your nines competition, are you going to make Adrian Lamb pick your full squad for this competition, and you're going to make Bran Arthur and Sam Burgess and whoever, and Matt Peake,
Mikey Lewis is going to pull his hamstring and miss the rest of the season playing in a nines tournament.
Because you can't sell tickets for a nines tournament when it's just going to be the residents because no one cares.
That was always the problem with the Auckland Nines and the Perth Nines.
But we've come up with this idea, and this is the idea we're going to go with because we're idiots.
Well, I did a tweet the other day, and obviously I went to Australia and covered the World Cup Nines 2019, which is I quite like nines. I think it's but the issue is we don't have any nines competitions. No. The NRL's given up on them. Yeah. We had a World Cup. We were supposed to have another one in 2023. Yeah. That disappeared.
We're gonna get it in the Commonwealth Games.
Yeah, Commonwealth Games is dead.
I believe they are.
They want it as a show event in the Olympics.
Yeah, Brisbane 30, and I think Troy Grant is still trying to do that. That would be fantastic, but we don't actually promote as a sport, and we are a small sport. Nines, you know what I mean? There's not amateur nines.
There's got to be a reason.
So you can't just throw in a nines off the top of your head.
Unless you give the winning team £1 million, which is
we don't have £1 million.
So
yeah.
So it's just.
But I'd love nines to take off. You know, if it did, that'd be great. But we need a strategy.
What would be great?
We can't just have one event and hope for the best.
What would be really good if we could get this 13-a-side sport called Rugby League to take off, which I know is going to be difficult because there's like all the other things on telly and YouTube and TikTok and stuff. But we could try. Now this 7th game we've got, because we're going to have an extra game every week, and Sky have got 6. And they're paying to produce them, which is brilliant. People forget this because it costs money to make exciting broadcasting like this, which people don't realise. Oh, the amount of money that goes into this programme, you won't believe it. Bigly amounts of money. It's all
biscuit money.
It's all spent on biscuits.
Biscuit money.
People don't like it when we talk about biscuits. Biscuits. Who's going to pay for this 7th game? Because I watched the Origin games on Saturday.
It's already been explained, Rich. You've not said.
I've not got 2.5 hours to listen to someone tell me things.
No, but it hasn't.
Because I've got episodes of Murder, She Wrote to catch up on.
It hasn't been explained.
Because there's hundreds of thousands of fans who will sign up to Super League Plus or a similar platform.
I'm being destructive. You see, there's a character.
Oh, right.
Something else here.
This is not really me.
Stop being so dynamic. And destructive.
Derek is out there on behalf of the owners of Super League, doing a lot of PR.
Well, the ones that support that way of thinking.
But this is the same person who has already told Sky we don't need them.
Yes, probably.
And we're about to
on
start negotiating with Sky, who are the only people at the moment that have supported Rugby League for 30 years. Unless he knows that they're not going to get the next broadcasting deal because somebody else is going to bid a lot more, which I'm not sure that is the case. That's a dangerous tactic. That's almost as dangerous as not including them in you're going to 14 teams and at least having the courtesy of telling them what you're doing. Even more dangerous is to have one of the people that is your public front spokespeople saying, I don't think we need you.
Do you know the public
front? I'd be going, maybe we don't need to give you as much money next year. Then.
Well, there's lots of dangerous tactics that are being
I'm just saying,
but
people should listen in the sport. Sky put all the money in. They should listen to what Brian Carney says, what John Wilkins says, and whoever else is on the revolving panel of people. But mainly those two, because they're there every week, and they're representing the broadcaster. And I can tell you this for a fact: you don't go on the air and say things that you would get sacked for, or your employer does not agree with, because that would be a foolish thing to do. So they should listen to what they say. 3 games this week. We just mentioned the Wales-Scotland game on S4C. Superb coverage. Read about it in the magazine. You'll read
Coverage was great. I mean, the respect that they showed for the sport, the fact that they were both explaining to a potential new audience what they were watching, but could not have been more complimentary about what was, in 2 languages.
I think I learnt stuff from the commentary because it wasn't patronising in terms of simplicity. It was very good, but it was like a proper broadcast. They had the clock worked. Teams were out there, cameras, different angles, replays. Did they mess up the Scottish one at the start? I think, but it doesn't. But then the RFL, who are going to broadcast this 7th game because nobody else is showing it yet. Unless they give it to... Free Sport doesn't exist anymore. So I can't do that.
A sportsman.
Could be. Would be all right because the sportsman's coverage of Rugby League is basic, but it's fine.
Yeah.
And it was 3, 4, 5 levels above what the Origin games got. I didn't watch the men's Northwest finals because what's the point? I'm not interested in them. Whereas at least I've got to buy into Yorkshire Lancashire in both the women's and the academy because you think, well, here's the stars of the future and here's who might play for England next week.
And you're from Yorkshire.
We'll come to the results in a bit, but the coverage in terms of camera angles and stuff compared to the sportsman, I don't like saying things are dreadful because I can't do it better myself, can I? But it was.
I think it just.
Well, this is the anniversary of the 2018 Women's Challenge Cup final, and we did that better, so maybe I can say it. We only had 2 cameras.
Just jumping back where you said there, we should listen to Brian Carney and John Wilkin. I think they've been critical of this expansion of this coup, of the lack of information.
The lack of information.
I think I've not read it, but Jamie Peacock, I think, was critical. I think Chris Chester said publicly it was rushed. I think as Paul Cook questioned some things. I think this sardonic program has. I think there's been reports in the Guardian about Sport England having concerns. So it's not just clickbait, paywall, journo, me.
I think you've got the message that you've got to get out there has to be coherent and solid. And we're a week down the line of when we all saw it was announced, and there's still more questions than answers, and that can't be right. That's why I said at the beginning, I think they're losing the PR battle.
Is Brian Carney destructive and sardonic?
I hope so. He would want to be.
Anyway, he's making fun of your sunburn.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm against him for that. But generally, I like it.
It's funny when an Irish person is.
It was very funny. I don't think we'll have to take the mickey out of the Irish because it's like the Australian. We can't.
It's not stopped you before.
Well, no, but you're all right. Abigail liked the nines. Of course you would. She could run around. She had selfies with all the people and stuff. The funny thing about the Origin game, the women's one, was everyone had their Sunday names. It'd be like calling you Philip or something. I don't know. They'd have to call me Kenneth, which is very wrong. But Victoria Whitfield and Isabella Sykes, who are these people? These mysterious. But that's if they're on the team sheet and you're going by the team sheet. That's what you're going to call people. That's just how it is.
Is there a reaction to anything that we've said so far?
Someone said we talked to him about biscuits. Someone said we should go listen to. Someone said this is dribble. I mean, Peter, if you think this is dribble, I haven't said this for a long time. Turn off. Why don't you go listen to this 2.5 hour interview? Because it's 2.5 hours long.
I did listen to
John's
it.
listened to it, so we don't have to. Phil's got a bookshop too.
Sadly, I got mentioned a little bit too much.
Well, and again, it goes back to the start of the programme. What are we trying to do? What's the sport trying to do?
I think the point, and we don't need to go back to that, but I think the point is, would you get owners in other sports, club owners acting like that?
Ken Bates would have done, but not everyone was Ken Bates, so that's But he's the exception rather than the rule. You're right.
The owner of the LA Lakers or the owner of I don't know, Brisbane Broncos or.
But part of the issue is we do not have a designated spokesperson in public for the sport, and haven't had for as long as I can remember.
Andrew's asked us what should we expect from the big meeting this Wednesday for the Championship clubs? Are the League One clubs invited as well? Are they allowed in?
I imagine they're going to.
I suspect we'll get an amalgamated competition which will be regionalised for its fixtures.
Which I'm sure you reported that quite some time ago, Phil. Like you may have had an idea of what you're talking about.
No. Are Bristol coming in?
I think you're misrepresenting and sensationalising with your clickbait magazine, which is fine because it's hard to clickbait a print product. I mean, that's
Clickbait magazine. Is there any other news bit?
We can not that it's probably everyone's favourite subject.
Salford.
Salford.
Yeah.
So we had
a
question from Richard Morton to all of us. Can I politely ask you this evening to discuss not what is going on at Salford, because there are things going on, but that will probably be tomorrow. But how and why is it being allowed to happen? Question mark. Are the owners in no way answerable to the league? Question mark. Love the show, Steve. Which is very nice. So you want to go first, Richard?
Well, no, I just want to ask you a question because we've already said about what are we doing about these decisions and things about 14 and fixtures. Why now? So at the start of the year, we get rid of Simon Johnson and he's bored of people who don't like Rugby League because they hadn't sorted out Salford. And here we are in August and Salford are still a basket case. So what was the big rush? What's going on? Did anyone ask those questions? And I know it's hypocritical of me to say this when I've said we're not going to ask him on. There's no point. But does anyone else ask these questions? I didn't ask Wigan why they abstained. Someone asked earlier in the chat, where is it? Why did Wigan abstain? Why did they abstain?
I've tried, but can't force people to talk.
I think going back to Salford, clearly they've had 2 more departures this afternoon. So
who was the other one apart from Chris Atkinson?
Chris Hill's gone to Bradford.
Oh, immediately. Okay, there you go.
And
like Bradford recruiting for a full-time Super League.
I think it's to try and get to winning a grand
Final,
final, which might be the point.
But I would imagine his contract longer than.
No, it's to the end of this year.
Oh, okay, well,
same as Hankinson's at least.
Yeah.
And I think there's talk that Ethan Ryan might be next. I mean,
who will Salford?
Well,
are you getting a call up? Knee bandage?
But you still play touch, don't you? So you could get in.
We had a case last week, didn't we? In a game, you asked me what was competitive earlier. Salford 12, Hull Chaos 74, not competitive. But one of the reasons, obviously, we have every sympathy with the players and the families and the staff at Salford, is 5 of them decided that they were not prepared to take any more of 2 of whom have now moved on. A third may well be moving on. I think the issue with all of that is what can you do? And I go back to the interview we did with Simon Johnson, which was 3,000 words, and he said if you are offered proof of funding as a governing body, you can't do a lot more than that. If that funding doesn't come, that's an issue for the owners of the club.
I don't think enough due diligence was done on the people who were.
No, and I also think
that would be the.
There was talk around a month at least, possibly 6 weeks before the start of the Super League season, that there were contingency plans.
There were, yes, I understand that. Yeah.
But it was deemed that the RFL or whoever was in charge of deciding whether we were going down the road of whatever those contingency plans were, decided not to do it. That's where I think they're culpable.
Yeah, I think there's many.
Not necessarily, it's their fault that they didn't make the owners pay. You cannot make somebody pay money. You can ask for proof of funding, if it's there. The issue has always been about it's nothing to do with the team.
Yes.
The team is an irrelevance to the people that want to get involved in a multi-million-pound financial deal. The team which is in the middle that occupies the bit that you're interested in is irrelevant. You are not going to put money into something unless you can get everything that goes around it. Now, whether they're capable of funding that, I don't know, because I haven't seen what Salford Council have seen by way of proof of funds. I haven't seen what the
I'll just say it's quite good that Salford Council are actually wary of dealing with these people because they've proved to be unreliable and they've
asked them over a period of time as deadlines have passed.
Evidence.
And it
hasn't been forthcoming.
The hindsight is a wonderful thing, but 6 weeks out from the season when it looked like this was going nowhere, contingency should have been brought into play.
I think that's the main point. And just to sum this up, Richard, because probably take about a 40-minute podcast to go through it, but I think as Phil said, I think the RFL, whatever it was in January, ordered them to do a fire sale. They didn't do the fire sale, and this was allowed. And then I think the decision was, well, we'll let them limp through the season to protect the Sky deal.
Well, not only that, we'll give them £500,000.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and as long as that final game's done.
We'll allow other clubs to loan them, whatever. But yeah, and I think once the season is ended and this farce ends, there'll be either, well, I hope this isn't the case, because maybe the money will magically arrive, but they'll either cease to exist or they'll limp into the championship next year. But the owners are answerable, the new owners, and the RFL are answerable because they've allowed this to happen on their watch.
Where's the bridging gone?
That's a good question.
Because we were promised that. I mean, I say we, but...
Well, yeah, I think more importantly, HMRC were promised that. So the court date in September is going to be
So we all are promised it, because that's our money. That's, and if there's various other things swirling around that haven't been confirmed, so we're not going to talk about them. But
I've said this.
It's a shambles.
I said this on the. I'm sure I said this on the podcast previously, but it's not like a situation we haven't seen before with Bradford and Crusaders and Toronto, other clubs.
My own club, yeah.
Yeah. These things tend, because the RFL is not very good at doing what it's supposed to do. These situations, and also the structure and the system. There isn't enough money in the sport. Sport is not popular enough to attract enough investment.
Well, again,
that's Salford has suffered because the TV deal has shrunk in the last.
But
4 or
I'd
5
go
years.
back 30 years. If you're talking about who is culpable, 30 years, we got the greatest single amount of money this sport has ever had. And what have we got in the bank at the moment? What are our reserves?
What did we spend it on, Phil?
Terrible Australian players. No, journalists.
Which is great, because we've just increased the quota from 7 to 10.
Yeah,
so we've got terrible Australian players.
The funny thing is, though, I think if you went the quality of players in 1996, 97, I can't off the top of my head remember it, but I know around 2000 it was Matty Johns, Steve Ranoff, Dave Furner, internationals,
but
to some bloke who played 2 games in the Q Cup next year. I mean,
we're crying poor because we are, and yet we did have within our bank account at the time £87 million. So if there's an issue about governance, it's why none of that was ring fenced for exactly where we are now. Why it was all given out.
And was it also that the framing the future things weren't actually carried out? Yeah.
Not at all.
Yeah.
We'll do a deep dive on framing the future one day. Phil says the owners need to come out and front up to the media. They are quieter than Marcel Marceau. One for the teenagers there.
Some of them are.
Too many clubs that... Oh, I think he means the owners at Salford, specifically.
Oh, right,
not
yes.
the other ones.
Yeah. Well,
I've
never spoken to the owners at Salford. It'd be great
I don't think anyone has.
Well, I think some people have. But yeah. They're not... Seem to have not done a public on the record interview, that's for sure.
Gav says, too many clubs sat back, found their level, and proceeded to tread water, collecting an annual paycheck, and were still there. I mean, I'm not saying Bellevue didn't improve much over... took a long time, didn't it? Adam says, Chris Rudlinski said today on a podcast that Wigan abstained as documentation regarding the different options was only provided to clubs on the day and not in advance of the meeting as promised.
I did write that last week, yeah.
There you go then. Yeah. Well, they didn't read that because he's got to pay to read your work because you're a money-grabbing Australian.
All media and journalism and content, including rugby league games, should be free.
They should. Well,
no one should be paid for the work they do.
Turn up at your local rugby league ground this week and say, I demand free entry, because to not do so is anti-whatever it is. I don't know.
Inflammatory.
Sardonic?
This program's definitely inflammatory.
Destructive.
We should be sponsored by ibuprofen or something. Big ibuprofen.
It's much better than some people online.
Oh, well, yeah. Should I change the thing to sardonic now? Should I? Sardonic destructive media.
Well, I'm going to change.
But at least that was called out in a press conference. That was the funniest thing about that, David Furner.
I'm going to change mine to the eunuch, because apparently I'm nutless and gutless.
I know.
That I must admit, that made me tickle. That was funny.
Wow.
Yeah, that was good trolling. That was world class trolling.
Was there any other news?
We lost Sam Backo.
Yes, tell me about Sam Backo. Great name. Great name.
Tough.
Great moustache.
Outstanding of the 80s and 90s.
Australians need to forget this mullet stuff because they all look terrible. Bring back the moustaches.
Curly hair and moustache.
Yeah.
Sam was huge. I mean, we have seen some big players in the game. He was, I think Wally Lewis called him like a cement truck. Again, a bit like certain modern day props. Didn't have a huge amount of minutes in him, but when he was out there, he was absolutely destructive. Was a really good player at Canberra. Took them to a grand final, 87. Lost to Manly.
Yeah, I remember that one. That was a good day.
Thought you would have.
Yeah. It's only 5, but it was good.
Came over and had an off-season at Leeds straight after that. Played 18 games for Leeds, most of them off the bench, but did win the Yorkshire Cup at Ellen Road in front of 20. Can you imagine 23,000 people turned up to watch the Yorkshire Cup?
They weren't there in '92 when Yorkshire played. When Wakefield played Sheffield, they weren't there then.
And again, he came off the bench and helped Scully win his only medal.
No, he won the Panasonic Cup as well. Don't forget.
But it was the semi-final where he made his cult status at Leeds because he came off the bench and scored the winning try against Hull, which got them to the final. Then, having played at Leeds, and obviously because he played at Leeds, got selected for Australia.
Oh, of course. That's how it works.
Became the first prop forward in an Ashes series to score in all 3 Test matches in 1988. Played, was it 7 times for Queensland, won 2 series in 88, 89?
I was only a young clickbait hound in those days, but I just remember him more from the Origin days. Just, as probably a 10, 11-year-old, so watching those games. And he was, and just tough, physical. He was intimidating, and he didn't shirk a tough carry, and you wouldn't want to cross him.
Went to Brisbane, but could only manage 20 games because of a chronic knee injury. But did a lot of good work with the Indigenous community. Got the OAM in 2000. Got named in the Indigenous Team of the Century in 2008. The tributes that have been paid by people like Ricky Stewart at Canberra, who was a teammate of him. Wally Lewis, obviously, was captain at Queensland. Tell you all you need to know. He was a really, really tough, good bloke that you could rely on.
I'm not saying that Steve Maskell has done this deliberately, but the first song after the programme finishes tonight will be Dire Straits, which introduced by Luke Yates of Warrington, which is this is all interlinked.
I need to know which track.
Lady Writer. Do you have any
Lady brackets sardonic writer?
Luke Yates, another great Novocastrian.
I mean, there's a man who certainly didn't look like he was impressed getting his medal after the game on Friday, because I turned over for that bit. But it has got the Eye of Horus tattooed on him, which I thought was interesting for fans of Only Connect. But apart from that, any other news before I start talking about Rugby League games that we haven't watched?
Well, there is the Benidorm Bash.
Benidorm Bash. Yeah. I mean, now, see, if anyone from Leeds watching this programme, I had an idea on the way in when I was thinking about this, because they're sponsored by Jet2, the airline people. Every single time that bloody song by Jess Glynn gets played on the radio and I'm on, I always mention Jet2. It's the best piece of advertising they could ever do. But if anyone from Leeds listening, what you should do is get in touch with Jet2, find out where they're flying to when's the season starting next year?
It's going to be early January.
It's going to be January, yeah.
Find where they're flying to in January.
Where it's warm,
like Mallorca. And contact local tourist.
It's Alicante, I think, isn't it? You're flying to.
Let's go to Mallorca.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's go to Mallorca because I can
Canary Island.
piggyback on this and make some money. Fly to wherever they're going to fly to in January, and then immediately set up something like this. And you don't have to take Oldham with you. Play your reserves or whatever. And then make loads of money selling shirts with wearing Magaluf.
Because of it's a drain on the fans. Mm-hmm. We don't want 2 French teams.
No.
But we're happy if you come with us on our pre-season tour.
Yeah.
Well, I think I would imagine as long as you buy their packages so they make money, Warrington signed a...
Yes, Toby asked us about this. Is he any good? What was he?
Simply, he's not bad, he's 30 years old. He spent quite a fair time at Manly. I think he's a fairly big unit. He should do okay, but...
First team on a regular basis.
I think he's played 12 games this year, so in and out. I mean, obviously, I think if they wanted to keep him, they would have. But it doesn't mean, at 30, I think he's got a good
he's not coming out of the New South Wales Cup.
He's had an NRL career, which, that seems to be a rarity with a lot of signings these days. But Warrington obviously making plans for
replacement for Paul Moore.
Yes, I would say so. I mean, different style of player, not had a career that's hit the same heights as Vaughan, who has played Origin and for Australia, but obviously a lot younger. And yeah, could be a good signing.
I'm trying to think what else was going on with signings and such. But...
Well, a lot's been going on because of this split round.
Oh yes, yeah, it kind of
Can I ask another question about that?
It's your program.
Team of the week. Why do we do it
when
it's a split round?
Because
there are 5
anyone
players
accusing
from Hull KR, and they say, well, of course they are.
Yeah, anyone accusing John of clickbait, those teams of the week are clickbait because they're designed to go, why is my player not in this team?
But I can understand if it's a full round.
Donna from Castleford.
But if it's a half round, what the hell are we doing?
Team of
half
the half
teams
week.
of the week
Yeah.
for?
Just only pick 7 players. Pick 6 the next week.
I
hate teams of the week.
I don't know if anyone saw the act of the Penrith trainer.
It was the Australians. What's going on there? It's just boo, boo. Yeah.
What?
They're giving tips
Has
to
he had
the
a
cricket team.
$50,000
Well,
fine?
I did just speak to someone, an ex-international today on the phone, and we were talking about that amongst other things. And I think the point was $50,000 fine. So what's that? £25,000. I think there might have been a ban. If this was was Super League, I think the point was nothing would be done unless a journalist actually around, or it'd be 500 quid with 250
except
suspended.
that it wouldn't be heard until 2027.
No.
That's true. Yeah,
How much do you get banned for being naughty, really naughty?
But you know what? You get sacked. Yeah, unless you're Ezra Mann and you.
What did the West Tigers players do? What was their?
I believe that. I mean, I'm not down with Arabic gestures.
Right, because I only know finger ones.
But I believe it was some
ones.
sort of. I mean, it just sounds like good bands.
Bands.
Yeah, because it's related.
Still have that in Australia, don't you?
Well, sometimes not in a good way, but just. I did see a few Arabic people on social media saying they didn't have a problem with it. Australian Arabic people, so. I think the Bulldogs fans, they do get a little feisty, shall we say. So they weren't too happy. And they've lost a few games now. And then with the whole Galvin leaving the Tigers, going to the Bulldogs situation, but it's all good. It's all good theatre, isn't it?
Of course it is.
Yeah.
Of course it is. It's all exciting. I mean, we still to come. So, I mean, we got Super League Team of the Week or whatever. Super League's thickest person of the week coming up. When we get to the games.
I didn't vote on that.
Oh no, this is a...
All right.
Would it be somebody who got banned for abusing a match official
in a game where they won by 70 points? Tyrone May, come on down.
And who may now miss the biggest regular season game.
I must admit, and I was watching... Well, I wouldn't even call it a game. It was a glorified training run, wasn't it? In front of 4,000 people. But at what point did that happen? Does anyone know at what point... Yeah.
No.
And the
but also,
I wasn't concentrating enough.
No. I was cooking dinner at the time.
It can be a passing comment to a match official that then gets reported.
But I mean, if anyone's Wikipedia Tyrone May, he's probably not got the history of...
Not out of character.
Common sense.
Referees' microphones didn't pick it up. And that's the best thing about Wales, Scotland, when the microphones broke. Academy Origin, didn't watch it. Yorkshire 40, Lancashire 10. I mean, I watched the end of it because they filled time before the women's game on by repeating the same highlights in a loop. So it looked very good. But Marcus Gary, he scored tries. Loads of Rhinos players scored tries, some of which are also related to other people. Well, I mean, they're all related to other people, you know what I mean. So well done to Yorkshire.
Who win the series 2-0.
Excellent. And now they get to play Cumbria or something. No, nothing.
There's a question, and I don't know the answer to this, but what's happened to the Australian schoolboys v England?
That's what I mean. It's
because that's usually
a series that goes nowhere.
Because I know the Australian schoolboy, they used to alternate England, New Zealand.
What you mean?
I think they're still playing.
Having them over here so they could be curtain raisers before an Ashes Test series that we haven't seen for 23 years.
Well, I remember
that'd never work.
Particularly, I think it was the coldest day in the history of mankind at Headingley when England beat the schoolboys. I think off the top of my head was Tom Dearden. Might have been.
I can't remember.
I think there was some good.
I think Ryan Bailey was playing.
Ryan Bailey.
Yeah.
You're thinking of a more recent one, aren't you?
Yeah.
Oh no, the first
I was
one.
going to say.
No, the first one. Richie Mathers, Ryan.
No, I'm talking about the one in 2018. Phil.
Oh no, 1999. That's when it
But
started.
I think Jack Wellesby and
Oh yeah,
you know.
no. But there's always
Yeah.
been a great. Tessie New played in that,
Yes,
didn't
yeah,
it?
for
the
Australia,
Springboks.
yeah.
So
But I don't.
it's great sporting talent.
Why in the last 7 years? I know there was COVID, but why? Yeah,
Why?
because that is a
Why?
historic thing that's been going on for 20
it
to
costs
30s. Surely the Aussies could pay for it, like
Well,
most other things.
I would have bought the schoolboys on this tour, and even if there were midweek games, because you couldn't hire Wembley for 2 matches, or just to keep the interest going. And
We got rugby grounds that aren't doing much in November.
well, more than that, we've got rugby grounds that aren't getting test matches. So you could take it to Warrington or St Helens or
Wakefield.
Hull, Wakefield.
Wakefield. Yorkshire 8, Lancashire 50. Ooh. It's not good.
But
Days after Yorkshire Day, what a disappointment.
But there was a reason for this game because it's a test trial.
Test trial. This is the women. Now is this an official game because they use 6 substitutes, so it's not official. It doesn't go in record. You don't get it. Do you get a cap? I don't know. Probably not. Can we afford caps? Wales have got caps.
You can have a silver salver that you can put on your head because we've got plenty of them.
Brogan Evans has got a wheelchair cap and a women's cap. She's got both of them. They must have money in the Welsh. We need to find out where's the Welsh Rugby League getting their cap budget from. That's a question we'll ask in the future. Impressive win from Lancashire.
Grace Banks,
Grace Banks.
player of the match.
I don't know how the Woman of Steel award is chosen in the same way that the Men of Steel thing is whatever it is, and there's points, but we don't know now, do we? Because it's secret. It's a secret now. Because we wouldn't want to build up the excitement just in case 2 of the players were close and we could build up a rivalry.
Playing
or
against
something.
each other.
Yeah, it'd be good that, wouldn't it? But no, we don't know. So when Mason Lino wins it, we'll all go, not when cast players won it. But Eva Hunter should be the Woman of Steel. That's my suggestion now, having watched none of the games. So
I think I said that at the beginning of the season after Wembley.
she was quite good there, wasn't
New
she?
favourite player.
Yeah. Very dominant performance from Lancashire. Paul Cook on commentary, very impressed with Emily Rudge, who's back in the England squad. Back.
Rudge mode.
Yeah. Oh, yes, she's there, isn't she? Oh, you can't see her.
I did enjoy Emily Rogers' Instagram video about the comparing the faces to their likenesses
Yes.
on the Rugby League.
Well, I mean,
yeah.
I don't want to say I know who put those faces together, but,
Who was it?
well, I can't tell you.
Oh, right.
But it was someone we know.
Right.
Good work, Tom. We're certainly made...
How's his like?
I don't know. I need to ask him.
Has he got 2?
No, he's suffering from a Lucy Bronze.
Yeah. I think
Oh,
he's made
that's not
Vicky
good.
Whitfield and Amy Hardcastle not look like sisters anymore. So at least there's that in his favour. But yeah, good win for Lancashire. And now we've got the England team. Hang on, I've got the England squad here. Savannah Andrade's back in it as well, which means Abigail will be very happy because I think she's one of her favourite players. And certainly well deserved based on her form for York. I did have the squad, but they didn't send it on email, so I've lost it again. But it's all the people. It's all the people.
Just to segue quickly, I know we were talking about 2018, but this England Academy team that beat Australia 2-0 in 2018, Jack Wellesby in a senior.
Whatever happened to Chatwell?
Well, it gets better. Cameron Scott, Harry Newman, Tom Nisbet, Callum McCulland, Harry Smith, Oliver Wilson, Corey Johnson, Ethan Havard, Sam Walters, Owen Trout, Morgan Smithies.
It's almost as if the selectors knew who were decent
And
players.
that's not a bad strike rate, is it? Because usually there'll be a few names in there.
A couple more.
Oh, go on.
Mustafa,
Yeah.
Louis McConnell, Tom Holroyd, and Joe Shorrocks. And the Australian team, also a few names to remember and a few names you've never heard of. Zach Sinney, now at Castleford.
Yeah.
Stephen Crichton can play a bit.
He's all right.
Bradman Bass, not too
He
shabby.
scored tries in every game, I think, didn't he? He was really good.
I think so, yeah. Star Toa, who
Yeah.
was at West Tigers, or is at West Tigers, I think.
Yeah.
Jason Saab, plays for Manly. Jock Madden, who's going back to the West Tigers.
Yeah.
Uh,
a genuine NRL player.
yeah. Tom Dearden.
Heard of him.
Yeah, Origin Player of the Series. Ratu Nano, I don't know him. Ryan Gaz, a few other. Tommy Talau, good player. And on the bench, the one and only Franklin Pele.
Bradford legend.
Hull FC, great.
Do you want to know the England women's squad?
Yes.
You can read it out if you want.
Savannah Andrade.
Yeah.
Grace Banks.
Yeah.
It's alphabetical, by the way.
Yeah.
Ruby Bruce for the first time. Evie Cousins. Jodie Cunningham.
Yeah.
Anna Davies. Jenna Fubister. Eva Hunter. Phoebe Hook. Molly Jones, who's having a great season.
Yeah.
Katie Mottershead. Lucy Murray for the first time. Izzy Northrup. Ebony Partington. Emily Rudge. Isabel Rowe. Bella Sykes, not Isabella.
Isabella, no.
Georgia Wilson. Liv Wood. And Vicky Whitfield.
There you go. And they will play Wales on Saturday 5:30 kickoff on the S4C YouTube.
Yeah.
Because the Eisteddfod's on.
So what are we thinking, Rich? 70 points, 90?
Well, let's talk about the Wales-Scotland game, which was very exciting, as Phil mentioned earlier.
I was having a lovely Sunday roast.
Which is fair enough.
It was great.
The Sunday roast thank you. It was 2 courses. Sticky
Okay.
toffee pudding, yeah. That
Was it the highest quality game? No. Was it exciting? Yes. So anyone who tuned in will have enjoyed
And
it.
I think the thing to say for those that didn't already know, that was Scotland's first game. So to run Wales to within 2 minutes of the final whistle.
It's a good effort.
And again, we talked about it briefly last week. You know, how do you promote the game? Do you get a team of heritage-based players that are proud to wear the shirt, sing the national anthem with as much gusto as you can, and then that translate into, young females saying, "I want to play that," and you start the pathway that way, or do you wait until your pathway is strong enough to pick a national team? There's no right or wrong, but on the way Scotland did it, it seemed to work. Scotland will now play Jamaica.
All heritage.
Yeah, well,
I think they've got a couple of players who
because
play.
there isn't a domestic competition.
No, they've got players who play for rugby union clubs in Scotland in the squad.
We now do have our first dual code international in Scottish Rugby Union. Is it Evie, the winger?
Tonkin.
Evie Tonkin. She played Scotland Rugby Union 15s.
I'm not to be play devil's advocate, but
I think you should.
And because you could argue it's worked for Samoa, Tonga, Fiji, but I think if you look at, say, Scotland men, Lebanon men,
Yeah, but I think
Scotland men rugby
we
union.
shouldn't be comparing.
In British and Irish Lions.
Shouldn't be comparing the men's game that's been going on 130 years, and we've been signing Scottish players for as long as we can. The first person to lift a World Cup was a Scot, Dave Valentine. But we're starting with almost a blank sheet of paper with women's sport, which is going hopefully in a different direction. And if we can get young Scottish girls who are saying to clubs, "I want to try this game," because if you can't see it, you can't be it. There is some merit in that.
Yeah.
There's a domestic competition starting in Ireland for women, but Ireland's women's team was ostensibly a heritage team when it started.
I think that is the only problem when you're relying.
But in Greece, they've got enough women to have a women's team.
I think Greece is, the fact that there are locals playing the game is the key thing. I think that's got to be for your national teams. You should be drawing on some heritage players because obviously no one wants to see cricket scores. But you do need that local work being done at the grassroots.
But then Wales, who have dealt quite a lot in heritage players, they've now got players from Cardiff.
They've had a couple of
which is great, which is fantastic.
In the build-up, they had a couple of players doing a video for S4C speaking Welsh.
Yeah.
Including our friend Fionn Jenkins speaks Welsh. I should have asked her to speak Welsh when we spoke.
I just thought for what it was as the other great thing is Scotland have another fixture, so it's not like we played a game.
That's it.
Yes,
here's your shirt.
3 years we'll play another game.
They're playing Jamaica and they're playing the England Community Lions in the autumn, and you would hope that the next time World Cup qualification comes around, Scotland will be part of that for Europe, and then even more players will make themselves available. And
I know there's a cost, but we've got to get, and I know it's at the same time as England Australia, which is terrible planning. We've got to get that Scotland Jamaica game moved to a proper stadium. We can't have it played in a community ground. It just doesn't look right.
Could they not play it on a Friday night at Wakefield or Cass or?
Well, Jamaica have played at Wakefield before and got a decent crowd.
But on a Friday night, so you're not actually,
of course,
or a Sunday.
Well,
but it's in November, so it'll be dark, so we don't want to turn the lights on. But
France are playing in a World Cup qualifier at the same time as England are playing Australia. It's like,
So
what are we doing?
Scotland shouldn't be playing international in Featherstone for a start. But
Yeah.
but I understand why.
Yeah.
I don't mind that bit. But if they're going to play in Featherstone, play at Post Office Road. Don't play at the amateur ground. Doesn't make sense.
I think talking about international matters, and Phil, maybe you know some things about this, but we've had no fixtures or venues for the Pacific Championships.
Due this week.
Well, that's good because it's on in October and it's August.
Yeah, but you've got the NRL playoffs are still to come. The grand final.
We do know that Tonga are playing Samoa.
Oh, no.
And it's going to be a 50,000 sellout.
That's been leaked, but we know Tonga's going to play Samoa
and
and
New Zealand are going to have 2 home games.
Yes, they'll probably be at Mount Smart. But when...
There is a fair amount of that planning that is known in the Southern Hemisphere.
But it hasn't been publicly announced or promoted.
Wednesday, maybe?
The other thing is the World Cup. It's barely got a mention. There is a World Cup next year, and it is August, and the World Cup will be on in October next year. We don't have a draw, we don't have venues.
What I don't know if they're waiting for is to know who the final qualifiers are.
Well,
which they will know by October this year, which will be 1 year to go, here's your World Cup.
You could just literally say, Team X will be playing.
But we need to know who the 2 extra teams are in the Wheelchair World Cup, because again, that's been decided by Lord Kane, I think.
Why don't they ask us?
No, it's a panel.
Do you know who Lord Kane has a lifelong obsession with? Similar to yourself?
Northern Ireland.
No.
You said this earlier.
I think it's the mighty Leeds Rhinos.
Which reminds me, when you were talking about Northern Ireland earlier, I wanted to say, who is Rugby League's Reverend Ian Paisley? Which I didn't get a chance to do.
Who is Rugby League's Mo Molan? Because he's... Anyway, I think on the women's we've got the World Series in Canada that's being played in October, and there's the final men's qualifiers as well.
Will that be televised?
I think they're hoping that France and Jamaica is going to be televised, and Cook Islands, South Africa will be part of the Pacific Championship.
But the World Cup is quite a big event.
But what I'm saying is I don't know, but they may be waiting until all of the qualifiers are known.
Well, my understanding is they're trying to source money from the state governments in Australia.
But it's not like the Football World Cup where there's 84 nations who've got to play in 75 groups.
Exactly.
It's like there's 10 nations in the men's.
But it's just...
There's 8 in the women's and there's 8 in the wheelchair. It can be done a year out and it's not going to make a huge difference.
But if you want people to fly, to travel,
but I think a year is probably...
But every other sport seems to do it in advance. Rugby union, football, cricket.
But we're talking about internationals and rugby league. It doesn't work like that. It never has.
Well, you wonder why these things don't make money and aren't successful.
One of the things, again, going back to where we started, about how do you grow and get more broadcast income, is you need to have an international calendar, part of which is in the middle of the season. So you need fewer league matches so you can have windows, because you can sell them. And we're not going to do that if we're going to still have 26 or 27 rounds of rugby league.
So, we're not doing that.
No. But, so where's the growth?
There isn't.
9. 2 sets of twins playing in that game as well.
Which was amazing. One on each side. Has that ever happened before, do you reckon? Twins on each team.
I'm trying to think of the...
Travojeviches, did they ever...
But they're not twins. The Mortimers, but I don't think they're twins. Like, against someone. Yeah.
But
they did have They had the Travojeviches against the Finus. So that was 3 brothers against 3 brothers.
Well, the Burgesses. We had 3 brothers.
They had 4 brothers.
So,
but not against each
not
other.
Twin. There were 2 twins.
Well, there was 2, yeah.
But
there wasn't
played twins.
Yeah. Key points.
Should mention her because she was outstanding. Bethan Dainton, who scored the final try as well. So,
we just got to learn a lot of stuff about the players, which is, again, to the credit of the coverage, that Abigail Pearson was on the bench for Scotland, came on as a replacement Morgan Pearson. Used to be a ballet dancer. Those are the stories we want.
Plenty of Swinton Lionesses there, and now all the girls in Scotland think they can grow up and be Sammy Simpson. Friend of the programme. Sent me a message this week. Are you on TikTok? I mean, yes, I am, but I'm on her TikTok. Yeah, I'm interviewing her, and then she's carried off on a stretcher. It's a great video.
I think there's laws about men of a certain age being on TikTok, but anyway.
She was carried off on a stretcher because you interviewed.
Yeah.
It was a hard-hitting interview.
He
was going for the clickbait again. Again, Rich. Destructive.
So, to back to your question, how will it go between England and Wales on Saturday? I was surprised at how close the game was because Wales have got more internationals in there,
which is good,
and
yeah,
which is good. It's good for Wales and Scotland because if they can have a rivalry and improve by playing each other, that's great. England will probably win again by 60 points on Saturday, and that's not a problem because we expect it to happen.
Well, didn't the England Roses, rugby union,
they stuffed us.
Didn't they beat Spain 97-7? And
I'm not sure.
In a World Cup
and their captain got sent off, but he's still going to play in the World Cup.
Well, but I didn't hear anybody saying let's ban women's rugby union.
I was surprised that wasn't on the telly because, and what the biggest surprise this weekend was on BBC 1 and 2, they didn't show the athletics. It's the UK Athletics Championships, and they usually show all athletics, but they're showing bargain hunt.
I'm not sure if you know, but there's actually a women's rugby union World Cup in this country, in the north.
I know.
Well, in about 2 weeks.
And I'm not going.
Going back to,
I didn't expect you.
I'm not watching. I watched the Lionesses. I've done my bit now.
Going back to Wales, they made a lot of chances against Scotland that they butchered.
Yes.
They cannot afford to do that against England because they ain't going to get that many opportunities. So if they can learn from that.
And now we sponsor the shirt of an international. Olivia Williams is official international.
And for the last mention of the hated rugby union on this programme, I'm sure Phil didn't watch the... Indifference. Sorry. Casual indifference. I'm sure Phil didn't watch the Lions Wallabies test on Saturday, but there was a lovely bit of skill on no-look pass from the one Joseph Suali'i to set up a try.
Where did he learn that?
I believe Western Sydney playing the Glenmore Park Brumbies, I think it was, a rugby league club. But I think, no, it was interesting. A contactor of mine sent me a picture of Andy Farrell, obviously a legend of rugby league at Wigan. I think it was Great Britain Crackton, wasn't he?
Certainly was.
Very, very good coach, but he was out in Manly, at Manly Wharf, drinking with Tony Mestrov, the CEO of Manly,
who we would have played
former
with
Wigan player, and Mark Reba, who was
who we would have played with at Wigan.
A former, and I was just...
Didn't have quite an illustrious reputation.
No, well, he played for North Sydney, so, the Bears. But,
well, talk that Farrell might be involved in England with Sean Wayne.
Right.
As maybe
come
in and talk to
I know he's very close with the likes of Pete and Radlinski, and you would imagine. But yeah, I mean, wouldn't it be great to have him back as a coach, as a
it'd be great to have him involved in this series. Either in a coaching capacity or on the television.
Well, how do you 55-year drought, Phil? How do you break that?
Ban Australians. You can only pick Australians playing in our competition.
You hope that Nathan Cleary pulls his hamstring in the grand final.
So Cameron Muster and Tom Dearden is a bad halves partnership.
I'm just saying. England have got to be absolutely at their peak with everybody they want to pick available. Herbie Farmer's got to be back because he's pulled his hamstring. And
he will be back 4 to 6 weeks.
They've got to win the first test at Wembley to put a tiny bit of pressure on the Aussies to have to win.
Got a good record at Wembley in the first test, yeah.
The worry for me, and we'll
stop laughing.
No, I know we do. That's the problem.
No, the only worry for me is it's 3 games in 3 weeks, and the one thing that traditionally English players have not been able to get up for is that level of intensity 3 weeks run. Whereas the Aussies, because their competition is so intense, are used to that. Doesn't faze them.
I just think whether there's other things, and I'm not saying
we need an English referee that obviously needs to give no penalties to Australia.
I think there will likely be an English referee, and obviously to rain, very bad conditions, snow.
We have to have a hostile crowd.
I think there will be a hostile crowd, but no, do they? I don't know. In terms of the mind games thing, do they get sports psychologists in? Do they try and rattle the Australians with media comments or what? You know what I mean?
Anything.
Do they go? Yeah. Do they look at other teams like the cricket in 2005?
3-0 or something.
No, that was Jack Wellesby.
Sorry.
Sam Burgess said he thinks England's got the best chance it's had in a long while, which may be true.
Yeah.
It's gonna
best chance since 2003.
Something to talk.
That is also true.
Something to talk about nearer the time when you know who's fit. But we have to have everybody fit. Everybody that Sean wants to pick has to be available to.
Well, that's already Matty Ashton's already. Yeah.
No, but he's available. He
off feet.
No, but that's what I mean. He would have been one of the wingers.
He might have been, but he's got a fair amount of choice on the wing. But the powerhouse up front, everybody, Morgan Knowles has got to be fit.
I was going to say Ryan Hill then.
The audience all know Andy Fowler's greatest ever moment in rugby league. Not captaining great.
I think I know what this is.
It's
It's only ever someone big and fat.
yes, it's calling out Scully and Scully responding on the Super League show. Those clips don't seem to appear on the internet. If you have them,
I've seen the YouTube clip.
yeah, it's brilliant.
Big fat Gary Schofield, yeah.
For the motivation. Thanks to Big Fat.
And what did actually Scully say?
Oh,
On the,
God knows. He could have said anything. You know what he's like. I can't
as long
remember.
as he wasn't talking about PNG, it's alright. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, he wound up for Feta, didn't he, when he was at Wakefield? That was another famous one. Not quite as famous as Andy Fowler, because he's Andy Fowler. Where's he Andrew when he's the Lion?
Well, I do, not to go back to that for the final time, but there was a funny comment that he said in his post in the first test. And he said, we sang about Suncorp, it's great to get the victory at the home of Australian Rugby Union. It was like, no, it's Lang Park. This is the home of Australian Rugby League, which you used to play at Ballymore down the road.
Yeah.
But anyway,
And
not to be a sardonic, destructive pedant.
and of all the great moments in his career, the win there in '94, probably.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, we had some,
Wigan
great
Brisbane,
wins, didn't you? Yeah. Definitely.
So what was I going to say about Andy Fowler? I can't remember what it was now. Oh no, that was it about the Lions. The reporting on. Hey, first of all, at least now the BBC can't keep writing articles about how Louis Rees-Zammit is going to make it in the NFL when he was never going to do. And good luck to him and well done to him for having the balls to do it. I'm not criticising him, but the media coverage was no understanding of the NFL.
It's the same as the Jared Hayne. You know what I mean? The hype that
how
went
did he
around
play?
it.
How did he actually play? That was the weird thing.
Yeah, I mean, I think the
But obviously we're not talking about it.
off-field issue that he also had in America didn't help his case. But
There was an article on the BBC website before the third test saying, for their legacy, which is nonsense, is it about winning or winning well? No, it's about winning. I'm going to swear again then. Oh, it winds me up something.
Well, the Lionesses the best team in the Euros.
No,
it's about winning.
But Chloe Kelly.
you don't get a medal for playing well and losing. That's
Greatest team I ever saw, one of them was the Brazilian team in the '82 World Cup.
I thought you were going to say '94, but that was similar. Yeah,
Who didn't win?
Socrates.
Yeah. Garth of Town.
No, I'm old enough to remember '82.
Yeah. But if you've got a match fixer and you're going to, sorry.
Well,
You're
no, but you're right though.
Yeah. Well, it did get done first.
Well done, Halifax Panthers. Big win for them in the Wheelchair
Massive.
Super League. 68-0 away at Wigan.
Wigan had a few missing apparently, but that is a statement of intent win.
Waiting for a bridging line?
Top of the league, Halifax, aren't they?
Sounds like a great game. Yeah, they are. Sounds like a great game between Hull and Edinburgh. Hull winning 52-34, but had to leave it late.
3
to
late
beat them.
tries. Edinburgh were winning, so they're improving.
And Leeds lost to London.
First time in
28-52.
2 years.
Yeah.
Leeds have lost the league game.
Having had to play York because Leeds was broken. So,
There was water on the pitch.
they could play on it. Be all right.
Water splash.
Yeah. As we saw with the NRL this weekend, and especially the NRLW, which was the NRL game I saw where the commentators were saying, as soon as there's water, the players become boys again. I think they're boys all the time. We're not pretending. They all love splash. El Shalbert's try, by the way. Can you see that one?
Yes.
Powering through.
Took about 5 players out on the way.
Bloody hell. Halifax at the top, London second, then Leeds, Wigan, Hull, Sheffield, Edinburgh. This week's fixtures in the Wheelchair Super League: Halifax versus Sheffield, Leeds, Hull, which hopefully I'll be at, and London versus Wigan. So interesting how
That's a big game for Wigan now, having slipped down the pecking order a little.
2 pages of letters in League Express this week. So there must be lots of things to talk about, or people have just got lots of things to say about nothing. League 1, Newcastle 10, Dewsbury 64. So how does Newcastle's grading work when they're now
Part of York.
York in disguise?
Well, there are clubs that don't put gradings in and don't get penalised for it.
North Wales, who, speaking of the Wheelchair Super League, there's 7 teams in there now, and there's going to be 8. They should be in there. 12, Swinton 24.
That's a big result for Swinton. That was the top 2, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Only the second defeat of the season for the Crusaders.
Great
but
news for Martin
Swinton
Calvin.
coming up on the rails. Yeah. If only there was going to be an age tournament at the end of the year.
Rochdale 36, Whitehaven 32 is their superhero day. So hopefully they ask Marvel for permission to use the Hulk kit. But a good win for Rochdale. And Workington 25, Keighley 22.
Good job, James, isn't he? No. Be crying. But Midlands have dropped out of the 4.
Yeah.
Not that it's going to matter, because we might not need a top 4.
They'll be in the Super Championship next season. We should call it that. Remind me to call it that every week. The Betfred Super Championship.
What about the League One champs?
Well, we can melt down that trophy or take it to cash converters and get a few quid for them.
Well, every advert on radio at the moment is we'll take your stuff and give you money, go on holiday or whatever. It's a radio version of pawnbrokers, isn't it?
Keighley Cougars have bought a football team.
Yes, Eccleshill.
I have no idea, but they've bought a football team. I just thought I'd tell you that because it's news.
Eccleshill United, I think.
Where's Eccleshill?
Between Bradford and Keighley.
It's like Todmorden. It's like one of these places. I'm not sure it exists really, but in the championship, Batley 4, Featherstone 18, Bradford 30, Halifax 10 in the big derby, 4,500 there.
Big derby
Big
on Yorkshire Day. Yorkshire Derby on Yorkshire Day.
Big win. Doncaster 34, Hunslet 24. Another win for Doncaster, who are flying high in 6th in the table.
But the most competitive Hunslet have been for a little while.
London 18, Barrow 10. Again, sounded an exciting game.
Went
Barrow
down
leading at
to,
half time.
I think, was it 3 minutes from time the winning try?
79 minutes, it says there, Alex Walker. Sheffield 12, Widnes 24. Sheffield... Craig Lingard must be a good coach. We know historically he's been a good coach.
He's had
at other
such
clubs.
disruption.
I think, as Phil would attest, having chaired the supporters meeting, there's many issues at that club.
One of which is he didn't have a pre-season, and another of which is he didn't really have a squad.
Well, I think it was also, I can't remember the player's name, so I won't say it, but they announced his departure, which he then...
yes.
Yeah.
I think I know what you mean, but again, I don't want to say...
It's
James Glover.
James
That's the
Glover,
one.
that was it. I mean, it's never really a good look if you've got... You're pushing a certain narrative out publicly and the player himself is saying,
I think it's more to do with the fact that it's been really fractured this year, and I would expect that to be better next year.
Not to...
When they're in the Super Championship.
Not to rake up old coals, but I think they handled the whole Mark Aston thing quite badly, and they've never really...
I don't know whether they did the RFA,
thing,
but it cast a shadow over the club.
I think it still has, arguably, yeah. And I think as you were at the meeting, a lot of the supporters are very angry about how...
But I think they realised, having vented at that meeting, that they now need to move forward, and I think that's what will happen next year. And Craig himself admitted that he felt like a stepfather coming into that situation, but it'll be more his team playing his way next year.
And finally, their 700th win in a row, York 24, Oldham 16. York top of the table,
Pushed
2 points clear.
Pushed all the way though. I think, was it 16-12 to Oldham?
Something like that,
not long to go.
Late try, 74 minutes on when Field scored the winning try.
Question for you, for Phil or Rich. Looking into York's crowds the other day, they don't seem to publish their crowds this year. I had a look at 2024. They average about 2,200 roughly.
Sounds about right.
So when they're in Super League, how?
Well, it's the same question you asked about Bradford, isn't it? How do they go from?
Well, I think
but
you could say
they've
yes.
got history behind them. York
Full
don't
credit
have
to Bradford.
Yeah.
They have a history of
York don't have that history,
world champions and whatever, and Bradford is York may be a bigger city. I'm
It's
not sure of the size, but Bradford are a bigger junior base.
But it's how York market themselves to North Yorkshire and to Selby and all those surrounding areas that sort of already know what rugby league is. The fact that they bought Newcastle is really clever because they're building a corridor up towards the northeast and looking after the junior talent coming out. There will be, obviously, if they are in Super League, somebody's told Paul Vaughan there will be an increase in visiting fans going there, and also York public wanting to see what this is all about. It's how you capitalise on that.
But obviously, Rugby League's been played in that city for
they've never really been a high level team.
I have over some years though, long ago.
But not for us.
When there was 40 teams in the division.
And we used to have 4 up, 4 down. Yeah. So every other year they'd go up, and then every year, but they were never. I mean, if historically there will have been some very big crowds at Bootham Crescent because the post-war were big crowds everywhere. But I think it's an opportunity. Whereas Bradford is, how do we go back and recapture what we had? Yes. York is, how do we make the most of something we've never had? And we've almost got to put more into marketing than ever before to tell people. They've got the stadium.
Well, it's lovely. It's an interesting thing. It's a great stadium.
The location that the stadium is in. It's the kind of place where away fans will want to go because you can make a weekend of it if you
Well,
want.
do we want to make a weekend away though in York? Doesn't that take money away from?
As long as it's not a stag do, it's all right.
I think as long as they bring £14 billion of tourist revenue, that'll be fine.
Pop down the Jorvik.
Well, there
go
should
to
be
Gulf Walk.
at least 4,000 Leigh fans bringing 4 million. But no, I think it is
But
an
no, I
interesting.
think it's interesting because I don't think there is.
Will they add
precedent.
2,000 fans on? Will they add?
Well, the
3,000,
ground holds
4,000?
is it 8.5?
Yeah.
So then, of the 13 home games they're going to get, if they can get sellouts early on, if they get the right sort of fixtures,
You think
and they're
Leeds,
competitive,
Bradford,
yeah,
Hull KR,
Wakefield.
Yeah, there'll be all the latent, all the people in Selby who used to work down the mines, who will all be in their
your
60s
mates,
now.
your mates.
They'll all be. They'll all be there watching.
But if you can get
latent cast fans,
a great occasion early enough in the season, and the team is competitive, it may work.
Don't see how the team is going to be competitive.
Well, they've signed Paul Vaughan.
A 34-year-old,
It's a statement of intent.
one player.
I'm just saying there need to be more of those. But the other thing is, I want to see Mark Applegarth back in Super League. I think he deserves the chance to put right whatever went wrong at Wakefield through no fault of his own.
I can't wait to be in. Call him Mash all the time.
The other question is who's putting the money in for York?
The owner.
Well,
from where though?
Presumably, the extra scrutiny of Lord Kane's committee will determine.
The Leeds Rhinos.
Will determine exactly that.
Jorvik Viking Centre.
Yeah, just seems that
Roundtree.
because obviously Mark Campbell used to own both York and Featherstone. I believe he may be still a director of the York.
Yeah, I don't
Foundation.
think he's a major shareholder.
Yeah, but surely there must be some sort
there'll
of
be due
investment.
diligence, right? Like there was at Salford.
Salford, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's allayed any concerns that I or anyone else may have.
No, I think that Lord Kane will preside.
Stop being sardonic.
Just
I'm gonna have to.
someone who served in a Conservative government recently.
I'm gonna have to get sardonic on this screen now, aren't I?
Will it be?
I think you're more
Will it be
destructive than sardonic.
Well, definitely destructive. Fixtures this week in the Championship: Bradford, Doncaster on Friday night. And Friday's
two-form team.
Yeah, Friday's pitch will be working for them, don't they? So that's good.
It's the last one though, I think.
All right.
It's the last Friday night live.
Stock cars back. Sunday, Halifax, Sheffield, also at Bartercard Odsal, or as everyone calls it, Odsal.
So whose home game was it last week when Bradford
It
played
was Bradford's.
Halifax at the place where they both play?
Yeah. Hunslet, York, London, Toulouse, Oldham, Barrow, Widnes, Batley in League One, all kicking off at 3 o'clock on Sunday. Dewsbury, Workington, Gould, Swinton, Keighley, Newcastle, Rochdale, North Wales, and Whitehaven, Midlands. All the teams.
Rochdale, North Wales will be interesting because Rochdale need to win that one.
Super League is back.
Back. In all its glory.
After its exciting
Every minute
3
matters.
rounds. I mean, we don't really need to talk about Salford versus Hull KR, do we? Because there's nothing to talk about other than...
It's a close game.
They scored some really good tries, Hull KR. That one where Joe Burgess kicked it on, that was good. I like that. Salford are brave. Oh, they're so brave.
Courageous.
These brave boys. Oh,
There is, and I know we're not the first person to raise it, but there is an issue of player welfare.
Just a small one.
No, massive.
Yeah. No, I was being sardonic.
No, because it's getting to the point now where if 2 more players have left and possibly a third and maybe a couple of others who didn't play are not suddenly going to make themselves available this week, who are Salford going to play?
It's a shit show, Phil. It has been for months, and it's not improving. It's getting worse.
And even a player that they managed to uncover in Deck Murphy is
not okay.
But worse you would do. You've got to look at, you know what I mean? You're not getting paid on time.
No,
I know you're not having a go at the player.
No, not at all.
Yeah.
I think he was fantastic when I saw him at Headingley the week before, and he deserves to get as high up that food chain as. But it's almost like Salford have found a player who's a good news story, and within 2 weeks he's.
Well, I've been speaking to some other players at their club, and I said, if you get another deal, you've got your mortgage, you've got your children to pay for. Yeah.
But what I'm saying is where that leaves Salford as putting out a team is not just they're going to get beaten every week. It's are the players that they are selecting ready to be playing week in, week out at Super
I would
League.
not be surprised if there's another raft of loans, maybe from League One clubs or.
The danger is we're at that stage in the season where clubs that have got something to play for are going to be very, very reluctant to loan anyone out.
I don't know what else to say about Salford and Hull KO, other than just to laugh at Tyrone Megan.
I thought what Willie Peters said after the game was absolutely spot on.
It's embarrassing.
And Willie's not a
No, he's not looking for headline.
no, he's not a clickbait merchant. He's not bombastic. He's
But even
he's very measured.
Paul Rowley for the first time said it. It really is a bad look for the sport.
It's been a bad look since round
one. But he's
one.
been doing everything he can to. I'm positive, and I need to just look after. But when he's saying,
I think
it's sad.
I think the time for positivity is gone. You know what I mean? Like, it's a car crash. You can't look at. You can't ignore it. We've got to do something about it.
Well, we should have done something about it in January. But
That's true.
And when Michael Carter was there for about a minute, and then
I don't know what the answer is to get them through the next 8 games. It's only going to get worse.
When's the signing deadline?
28th of August now. It's been moved back a month so that everybody can give loan players to Salford.
And everyone can sign Salford's players as well, yeah.
So cynical, Phil.
No.
So cynical and bitter from your back bedroom.
Am I the only person watching Helen's 40 Castleford 0? Because I did.
Yeah, I was
yes,
watching Leigh Warrington.
you were.
You were.
Well, Leigh Warrington was a great game.
Well,
Game.
So two things. Owen Dagnall's try again, superb.
Harry Robertson's wasn't bad.
No, he's all right as well.
He can play.
Lads.
He can play.
Is he a genuine England contender at this stage?
Well, in the centres, I
Especially
suppose if Herbie's out or Jake Wardle's, who would you, apart from Harry Newman?
I'd say Robertson's the
fact that he can play
fullback,
if
Wells isn't quite ready.
He's actually a 6.
I'd say his rate of development has been fantastic.
I probably wouldn't throw him against the Trell Mitchell or
no, but I'm
Tom
just saying
Trbojevic,
if you had to,
to have him in the squad.
I think he will be a future, whether it's this year or for the World Cup.
Yeah,
he will play for England, no doubt, on more than one occasion.
He was great.
Yeah.
Again, I don't know what to say about Castleford because
but they're announcing their coach this week apparently.
But the euphoria of beating Warrington lasted literally.
I mean, a crap Warrington team.
Yeah. Well, no.
But it was a performance whereby you could quite rightly say we're building something. This is who we are. We've got an identity. Then they go to St Helens and
I think they are. They're recruiting now, aren't they? They're very active.
Yeah.
And I think Chris Chester's proven, particularly at Lee and even at Wakefield on a much lower budget, he can find the right players and he can build. I
also think that even he couldn't hide his disappointment.
No.
That the inconsistency that he hopes there would be less of, particularly to the margin of 40-0.
Yes. Yeah.
Wouldn't be quite as prevalent.
I think anyone who saw that Castleford squad when the season was announced was not
10th.
Expecting. Yeah. Was not expecting anything but 12th, 11th, or 10th.
I just think when you see a victory like the one against Warrington, the euphoria that went with it, irrespective of they were at home and it's like this is what we want to be. Then very next game for them to revert back to type and not even just show a little bit more improvement, it would hurt. I
think what's interesting is St Helens, and they seem to have turned a corner. Obviously, without Jack Wellesby, Paul Wellens was under a lot of criticism, a lot of pressure, and
still there are people out there saying needs to beat big teams.
Yeah,
but they're not far off clinching a top 4 spot,
which will be a big turnaround.
Yeah.
The word to describe that performance, it's the cliched professional. Just do what they had to do. 40-0.
Well, it was 26 at half time.
Yeah,
they knew the game was won.
So
28.
They just did what they had to do.
Start big and then.
I'm trying to remember which game I saw where a hooker completely ran through the defence, and I can't remember.
Darryl Clark did it. I think
it wasn't Wales Scotland then. It was Darryl Clark. I couldn't remember because I thought if it's Wales Scotland, I can kind of accept. No, I think it was Darryl Clark.
I'm sure.
Oh God, that was
11
awful.
years ago. He was doing that a lot quicker, but he's still doing it. So full credit to him.
Castlewood at that point as well.
Yeah, he was. He was man of steel, I think, wasn't he?
But just professional performance from St Helens, and then I turned over and watched the post-match interviews of Lee versus Warrington. Lee 20, Warrington 16. So. Warrington are winning this game. 8-2 at half.
16-8.
They're 16-8 up.
With about 6 minutes to go.
And as we know, Adrian Lamb, he can't coach. He's no good. And then,
well, Adrian's throwing everything he can find at the wall, including his head at the time.
And Lee win again. And as we keep saying on this program, we said it a few weeks ago, we put a video out, a clip of the programme saying, they're the dark horses, they're the dark leopards, they're coming up on the rail, here they are, all the cliches, and they're third in the table. And they do.
They're almost now third as in that's the minimum. They've got a 3-point game.
I think that
big
video,
game on Thursday.
Yes.
But if they can win on Thursday, I think they're third.
I think that video ref call was a tough one for that try for Warrington.
It
did not look like that was a try to me.
I think
it was a big benefit of the doubt call.
The difference in the two teams,
and that was a huge swinging point,
is psychological. That Lee know how to win a game that they should have lost, and Warrington don't know how to win a game that they should have won.
I have to say that try that Josh Thulis
set up.
That was sensational. That was a beautiful.
Can you imagine what he felt like in the dressing room at the end when he was all that was for nothing?
Yeah. But no, credit Lee the way they came back, and they've done that quite a few times this season.
What is the character flaw in this Warrington team that they cannot finish what they start? Because the players don't change from apart from substitutes coming on. It's still Mark Sneed, and it's still George Williams, and it's
the
still
questions over Warrington.
Danny Walker was great when he came on.
Yeah, the questions over Warrington have been for several years is the culture.
But it's never been more obvious in this season that they can't see a game out. That was Wembley all over again. It's like,
as people would say, did Warrington's season end in Vegas when they did not show up against Wigan?
I don't know. The thing is, Sneed kicks a 45-metre penalty.
I think it was since I went on the bus. It's all gone down.
45
So
metres.
I should never have been allowed on the team bus going to Fremont Street, or maybe it was Ross Hedenstall. It was his fault. He was also
he's
on
not
the
here,
team bus.
Yeah. Liverpool fan.
Bad. Bin dipper. Bad juju on the bus, and
that will get complaints.
Sorry, that was I love Liverpool FC and all its fans.
No filters.
Craig Johnston, all we go. Yeah. Harry Kuehl.
I thought I mentioned Harry Kuehl in Leeds. Oh God, it's getting worse now. Sorry, but we don't know what's wrong with Warrington. They don't know. The problem is they don't know what's wrong with Warrington.
It's nothing to do. So when Sneed kicks a 45-metre penalty, and they go 16-8 ahead, and there's 4 sets to defend maximum.
I thought the game was over at that point. Yeah.
Do they think the game's over and their intensity? I don't know. I can't. I think what Lee do in not giving in is exactly what Warrington need. But I do think Warrington see. We've said it for a few weeks. I cannot see them.
Well, I think probably it's
even though they've got Salford twice, I cannot see them making the playoffs or making an impact in the playoffs, even if they sneaked in at 6th, which I don't think they deserve to do. I think Wakefield and Hull
even if we give
deserve to have a shootout, and they play each other in the penultimate round,
which could be a very juicy fixture.
Yeah, even if we give Warrington those 2 wins over Salford, I think do Wakefield play them again? I think.
No, Wakefield play Hull. That's their big game. I think.
Warrington gone to 22, which is the same as Wakefield now, and a point ahead of Hull, but has Burgess blown his chance of getting a gig in the NRLS, Phil?
I don't think
not an assistant's gig.
No, I think someone who listens and reads a lot of NRL media, they don't really understand or seem to recognise that Warrington aren't doing that well. I think it's just more the Sam Burgess aura and the profile, and even if Warrington were going terrible,
I think his reputation of what he did when he was there precedes him.
Oh, so it does.
He would get offered an opportunity.
But my point is, if they finish bottom, I think there'd still be people who'd be interested.
What's interesting is clearly there's going to be a change at Souths, who may win the wooden spoon.
You think Wayne's?
No, I think Wayne will change his coaching staff.
Right.
And he may bring in.
He always historically does that. Yes. Yeah, he doesn't sack himself. He sacks his.
So I suspect that there is a chance that.
Well, he did
go back there.
He did work under Wayne Att's house. Yeah. That's where he. Yeah. I mean, of course, there was the exit with. There was the issues with. Latrell Mitchell, and that was.
It'd be interesting how that was handled, but yes. I can.
And with Russell.
I can see reconciliation on that front.
Can he get his TV gig back again? He was on the telly, wasn't he? Or is he desperate to be?
I think he'll be doing the BBC for the Ashes series.
Thomas says, "There's a lot wrong at Warrington. Season's over. Have a look at the latest video we've put out. Is it the one with the new signing on?"
I think it's the Ben Westwood one in the.
Oh, is it him praying around and stuff? Which is, it's what Ben Westwood does, but
Couldn't
time
possibly
and,
comment.
time and place, isn't it? Toby says, compare Radlinski to Fitzpatrick, and that's the culture difference from the top down. There seems to be no attacking clue at Warrington. Same in the Challenge Cup, just a lack of converting chances into points.
And yet, when you've got Sneed, Williams, and Dufty, you would think that wouldn't be an issue. And Thewlis.
And Walker.
Who I really rate. I think, again, Thewlis is someone who Sean Wayne should be seriously thinking about bringing in.
He's had a really good season. Yeah.
What I could have done with is like England possibles versus probables. But without the NRL players.
Only had space in the season.
But without
in an indoor stadium in Dublin?
Yeah. Is there any indoor
pyro?
Shut down. The only people impressed with fireworks are idiots. On kids, but kids are allowed
I was going to say, my children, but that's
kids,
a bit...
kids are all right.
No, they're idiots, that's all right. They're idiotic children, so that's fine.
Kids are allowed to be... Don't say that. People will take that out of context now. You know, people listen to this program.
I will be misrepresented, and I will notify my legal representatives, and letters will be sent out.
I'm on catch-up, says Abigail. She had to go for her tea. Oh my God, these
Getting
biscuits,
hungry now,
these biscuits, I tell you.
That's 28.
I know, we're going to stop soon. I would tell you the team. Well chuffed about Savannah. She's Savannah Andrade's biggest fan. She should be.
Let's go and see if any news has broken.
Yeah,
while you finish the fixture.
Brian Barwick has been appointed chairman of Wakefield. It's a joke.
Still going with a séance to get Maurice Lindsay back. But,
well, I was going to mention Huddersfield. Obviously, I know we covered the Ralph Rimmer thing. I think that was more laughing. But he did do an interview with Huddersfield's... An exclusive interview, of course, with their in-house media, where he said he was a bad man to slow down. But it was interesting, he's going to bring energy and enthusiasm. But I did look at, obviously, Huddersfield have been very...
Don't let him do speeches with jokes about Fijians or whatever it was.
No. They are doing very badly on the table as the table. 4 wins from 20 games. But I've interestingly found out, and I did a bit of sums, that they have the lowest attendance this year in Super League. Even though Salford, with all their issues, won one game. Well, they don't have many fans, but they're still turning up in bigger numbers.
Well, that's what I was going to say about Castleford at St Helens, right? So all this debate about away fans, and it's nonsense. But you can't talk about away fans, and then St Helens close the stand and put the Cas fans in a corner. You can't have this debate about away fans. Yet, to use we're being gaslit, aren't we? About away fans and Catalans. And you can't argue with these people, because you can't argue with these people. There's no point. Thewlis is always one of Wire's best players every week, gives his all, says Thomas. That's what you want. And that's what the fans want. If the players are out there and they don't win, but they give everything, you're accepting of that.
Yes.
But so every year when you're saying...
Quick question then, for the Warrington fans as much as your good self, who is far more connected, particularly in the Antipodes.
I'm only connected to clickbait.
Just because the Dolphins are not going ahead with George Williams' transfer fee, still going to be in the NRL next year?
I think he'll be in the NRL in 2027.
I can't see it working, him staying another year at Warrington when he's that close to leaving. I think another NRL club will come in for him over this close season.
It's possible.
Especially if he's player of the series in the Ashes.
Yeah, I would say, and obviously... I haven't followed it closely, but I would say fair play to Warrington for holding out for a greater fee because he's under contract.
Yeah, absolutely.
He's their club captain. He's one of the best players in Super League. Why would you?
Who's going to need a halfback in the NRL next year?
Jeez, there's lots of teams. I mean, everyone needs a half. I mean, the Knights need a halfback.
I think he'll be in the NRL next year.
Yeah, I mean, he'd be a great signing for Perth in 2027, wouldn't he?
But I just think it's an unmanageable situation at Warrington if they didn't expect him to be there and he didn't expect to be there. No other British club is going to pay the kind of transfer fee.
No.
Therefore,
no.
Another NRL club who desperately needs a half.
Yeah.
Come in and get him.
Just trying to think off the top of my head. I wouldn't say, apart from the Knights, I wouldn't say there's a club that's in dire need of a... I mean, Cronulla could probably do with a... Bulldogs have got about 58 halfbacks. That's
Phil says the
Dragons.
Dragons.
I'm going to move Matty Burton into the centres.
But
the Dragons need one.
Replace them.
Or the Dragons, yeah, actually. That's a very... St George of the Warrior, they've got Lockie Elias playing in reserve grade. they've got Cole Flanagan, the coach's son, who's...
What about replacing Lewis Dodd at South?
Well, South Sydney's an interesting one because Wayne knows him well, and I think Wayne would probably rate him. Yeah, that's good. I mean, the Lewis Dodd one... The Lewis Dodd one is interesting. He's got a lot of criticism in Australia. I think he's on £1 million over 3 years, which is what 300. So he's on very, very good money, and I think he's only played the 2 games. And yeah, I think more the question is, where does Lewis Dodd end up? Could he be
Warrington in the swap deal?
No, it's possible.
Castleford?
No, I don't think they can afford.
That sounds going to pay his wages for the next 3 years.
but
Well, I think they probably would.
For free.
I think they would. Yeah, I think they would have to.
Salford now.
I think they would have to
you-
pay him off quite a
you
bit.
could see him going to Warrington.
Hull FC. Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
but you could see him going to
Well-
Warrington if Williams was going the other way.
Yeah.
That's
Stranger things have happened, and if they do happen, we called it here first. If they didn't, then
Yeah, we
merely
said it, yeah.
speculating. That's all we do.
So we haven't
no,
had
it's
time.
it's hypotheticals.
We haven't had time to talk about New Zealand Origin because Phil needs to go home and watch the quizzes on the telly. Super League fixtures this week.
New Zealand Origin.
Yeah, Peter Fernandez has said we're going to have Origin. New Zealand.
Oh, sorry. North
versus South. Yeah, or whatever.
Doesn't really work when most of the players are from the North Island.
But it doesn't matter. You just pretend they're from the South.
And also, most of the Kiwi players are living in Gold Coast and Brisbane, Western Sydney.
Doesn't matter. You just pretend. It's what we do. For all these
They're
international
taking
teams,
state of
all just
origin
pretend.
to.
Oh, that'll
New
be
Zealand.
it. If they go to Eden Park, they'll sell out Eden Park. Yeah, without doubt. Oh, I think they should. Yeah.
Fixtures this week in Super League. Lee versus Leeds on Thursday.
Be a great game.
Yeah. should
We'll look
be.
for you on the telly.
Chris Hankinson playing
Think,
against one of his former clubs.
Quite an important game for Leeds.
Massive.
You know, they've dropped a few games that they wouldn't like
And
to have.
we're almost past the deadline where we're going to make a decision on Brad Arthur.
Oh, we're at that point
Well,
now, aren't we?
there's
Because obviously
some
the-
speculation that
Have the
a
meetings taken
there's
place?
some speculation that a decision might have already been
Well,
made, Phil, which
but
I
if-
might have talked to you about.
But if Jake Arthur is coming over to play for Hull, all of that I want to be near my family. Well, he's going to be 60 miles down the
no,
road.
but he's got 2 other kids.
I know. I'm just
It's
saying.
not his favourite
It's like
son.
when Joel Mooney.
It's like your children.
It's-
You've got one
yeah.
favourite and you've got the other one.
There's always a runt of a little.
like cats.
Yeah, there is. Or a runt of a runt.
Yeah, for the people who thought there was a problem there with the sound, there you heard that right. Lee versus Leeds. On Friday, Wakefield St Helens.
That should be quite a good
Yeah,
game.
so
Yeah.
I'll be at work, so I'll miss that. Which is
I'm going to go to that. It'll be great.
No, you enjoy that.
You just
enjoy
go for the
samosas.
donuts, aren't you?
Oh,
Yeah,
the
the
samosas,
yeah.
yeah. Warrington versus Wigan on Friday.
I mean, I can't say that's going to be...
Well, you
yeah.
can watch. We can watch Wakefield Saints, can't you? See, and you don't have to watch that game.
Well,
So-
I will. That's exactly
Whereas
what
on Saturday, Hull Cow versus Cass at 3 o'clock, you're going to go, meh. Well, I know how that's going to go, but you know, Hull Cow good to watch.
But you also, if Cass have announced their coach by then, will there be an uplift?
Only if
Bearing
it's,
in mind-
only if it's Willie Peters.
Bearing in mind the first week of the season, it was a late drop goal.
It was.
Hull Cow beat
That
Cass.
seems like about 3 years ago now. Yeah, I remember that game. It was quite a
The
good.
Danny
good
Maguire
game.
derby. So then I'm not going to see that because I'm going to be at Leeds versus Hull in the Wheelchair Super League, and then I'm going to rush home and not watch Huddersfield versus Catalans in front of 3 people and watch. There might be more people at Wakefield, at Wales versus England. There won't be, but comparatively,
3,000, 3,500 maybe.
Huddersfield Catalan.
forget
I think-
the away supporters.
I did mention Huddersfield before, but they do seem a club in their current malaise.
They
that
just
really get
exist.
ignored in terms of media coverage, in
Yeah.
terms of being talked about their issues.
Well-
Just the fact that they want to move stadium but don't have a stadium to move into, or council
Want
approval
to
to build
want
one.
to move back, but don't have a.
But they're
stadium
going
they
to
can move
Halifax, which will reduce their crowds even further. But is that just an IMG move to?
back.
Yeah.
In the Radio
Right, so-
Yorkshire days,
Yeah.
in the Radio Yorkshire days, we would avoid doing Huddersfield games because people didn't listen.
Yeah.
And I know
you're
we're not
you're being destructive now.
We're not the only radio station that would do that. And on Sunday, Hull versus Salford, in the latest episode of Salford Welfare Extravaganza.
Wow. So what we, 50 points, 60?
It makes
Depends on how what Hull turn up. I guess.
it makes Wakefield St Helens slightly more interesting because they know they really do need to win that game
And
because
they've
they
been the
know
bogey
Hull
team so far
Yeah.
this year.
are going to win.
I mean, if you're John Cartwright, though, surely you rest a few players. It's a long season.
Well,
you rest Aiden Caesar and
But you
maybe Herman
But you've had a
SSS.
split round, haven't you?
That's true, so you are well rested. You don't want to be,
and you don't want to put any
overrest.
young players out there because Hull Cat will nick them. So,
They've
I like
signed-
that strategy. Don't develop your young players by
they've-
not playing them. So
They've signed another Hull youngster today.
well, we've got to go. We've done nearly 2 hours on nothing. Next week could be a 3-hour special, and we haven't even had like the chairman of Leon or anything. Phil's going to go watch some quizzes. You've got to go home. Someone sent me a TikTok of Leonard Marr to watch, so I've got to watch that now. We'll be back next Monday with all the news. John won't be here. You're not going to be here, right, next week?
I don't know, maybe. We'll see.
no.
We'll see.
You know,
School holidays. It's like living the dream.
I'm never
Yeah.
going to get home on this.
Someone else has got to look after my son. It's
like
great.
a whole load of.
Sorry, no,
games
I
and
won't
super
come.
next
I
week.
won't come.
No, you can come. You're welcome to. We just talk too much.
We'll start at 4.
Start for. Fingers crossed, at least one special guest during the week. Hopefully 2, but I haven't heard back from one of them. So
I'll probably
fingers
be
crossed
busy
for that.
looking for clickbait anyway.
Well, yeah, I'll try. We'll try to provide you with some during the
But I
week.
will try and put it free to read and not behind a paywall. That's,
You mean
How
that-
are you going to afford the biscuits?
I know.
Well, I'm eating your biscuits, so I'm
Oh,
not. I'm not paying for them. No.
Can I go to the club shop at Lee and pick up any paperwork, books and stuff, and just take it home with me? Is that what I'm allowed to do? Is it that different?
Couldn't possibly comment.
Don't steal things. Don't steal things. I feel I have to say that for our audience, even though they know.